I had kind of like pigeonholed like hardworking Americans to being those who are already kind of successful. In order for us to work with these hardworking Americans, they had to come and meet us where we are. And I realized it's like, wait a minute, we have to have something for the 90+% of other hardworking Americans who aren't quite there yet. We need to meet them where they are at.
What if you could become a real estate millionaire over the next decade while never stepping foot onto your properties? After more than 5,000 transactions and $1 billion in real estate deals, we've cracked the investing code. And this is the podcast where we share our secret that has created over 400 real estate millionaires using a simple, repeatable system that creates real wealth without the headaches of traditional investing. Step into our office as we share real-time, real-world real estate strategies to help you build wealth, unlock tax-free real estate income, and achieve economic independence, no matter where you're starting from. I'm Kevin Clayson.
And I'm Steve Earle. And this is the Replace Your Income podcast.
All right. Well, hello, everybody. Once again, welcome to Replace Your Income with Kevin and
Steve.
Hey, dude. Hey, did you like that new intro? Did you like it?
That's fantastic.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good because this is kind of like the official relaunch of Replace Your Income because we have been doing absolutely nothing for the last quarter. We've just been sitting around looking at each other and eating Christmas candy, right? Is that what we've been doing?
Well, there's nothing better than that.
We have been running at a fast and furious pace for the last quarter, and we have so much to share with you guys today and to introduce to you and to get you caught up and up to speed. We are going to be coming back at you regularly at a furious pace again because we have been working so hard and doing so much and putting so much together and almost reinventing aspects of this amazing thing that it is that we've been doing for nearly 2 decades, and we're so excited. This is the dawning of a new era in more ways than one, and this podcast should mark that very beginning. And so I am pumped to have this pod, to be back in the studio with you, Steve. It's good to see you over there.
Yeah, life's good. I didn't hardly recognize you when you came in. You've just been like hunkered down in your office, just getting after it, pounding things out. But it's been good. You know, the last quarter, like, I don't know if we've ever been busier.
No, it's so true. In fact, so busy that for those of you watching, I no longer know how to shave. So I have a beard now. Yeah, that's what happened. No, it's been incredible. And so what we want to do with you guys today is we want to get you up to speed. We want to take you on a little bit of a journey of what happened in 2024 that led to this last quarter where Steve and I have been locked away and the rest of the team working so hard to create something so extraordinary. And I am so excited to kind of talk about it. But in order to do so, you know, Steve, I want the listeners to understand that 2024, it was for us, I think in the history of our company, even though we've seen plenty of real estate cycles, we've seen booms, we've seen busts, we've seen economic collapses, we've seen a variety of different administrations, we've seen a variety of different policies. 2024, now I don't know if you'd agree with this, 2024 for me was maybe one of the most difficult years that I have had personally, just in trying to navigate this world, both as a company, as a real estate investor, and 2024, for me anyway, was a little bit unique and a little bit difficult. And I know it's not just me. I'm going to share an article in just a second. The economy in general had an extraordinarily difficult hill to climb in 2024.
Well, what's crazy, like I actually almost felt like in some instances that I was going crazy because I listened to, different, news outlets, and I was being told that inflation was under control and that everything was good. And it's like, we don't know what people are worried about. And then I would go to the grocery store and literally I'd be like, wait a minute, I just spent twice as much for half as much food. And then I'd be told, hey, not only is inflation under control, but some other things, I won't get into the politics of it, but I'd be told certain things were happening or weren't happening. And I'd be like, wait a minute, but I'm seeing the exact opposite. And I'm like, am I going crazy? And then on the real estate side of things, it was really weird. Like I was looking at reports about, like right now, in 2024, real estate sales were down, and I know you're going to talk about this.
Yeah.
We're down like double figures, in a significant way, and so that would kind of tell you that, well, there should be more people renting, but what was weird is that like rents were softer than normal. So it was kind of the opposite.
Yeah.
And then I remember reading a report from U-Haul where they do this report where it talks about it. They kind of track their one-way rentals. And so they can kind of pinpoint and see and tell, in their reports, here's where people are moving and where they're staying.
Yeah.
And yet in these markets where people were moving and staying, like sales weren't higher, rents weren't higher. And it was like, where are people going? Are they like living in the Walmart parking lot? and so like things just haven't added up. It's been from that standpoint for me, it's been a very strange 2024. But what I'm excited to talk about in this podcast is the things that we learned, the things that we've been working on, because necessity is the mother of all invention. Yeah. And as we've been looking at our clients and their struggles and our struggles and different things going on, and as we've tried to make sense of this economy and everything that's going on, we've come up with some pretty amazing things that we never would have thought of or even contemplated or even considered had it not been that weird of a year.
Yeah, 100%. And, one of the things that I hope everybody knows if you're listening is Steve and I, no matter what comes, no matter what the economy throws at us, no matter what the real estate market does, there is never, ever, at least because we've had these discussions, there's never been a reason for us to not. Okay. And what I mean by that is I know there are times when we've thought, oh my goodness, like, did we pick literally the most difficult business in the most difficult format because we've made it really hard on ourselves, but we have such a dedication to the people listening to this podcast, and not just you all listening, but to the millions and millions and millions of Americans who don't know what's available to them, that don't know that they could go and invest in real estate, that don't know that they could quite literally transform their financial future. And I know you and I know we think of those folks often. We think of our clients often. We think of those folks often. We don't know them, but we feel this obligation, this weight, I don't want to say burden of responsibility. Sometimes it feels like a burden. It's just a weight of responsibility to create something that allows everyday hardworking Americans, everyday earners, to transform their financial lives with the power of real estate. And we are relentless in that pursuit, and we will never give that up. And I hope if you're listening, you understand, or if you're watching, that you understand that we are so very, very dedicated to that idea that when the storms of life, the storms of the economy, the storms of the market beat upon us, we don't ever retreat and look for shelter. We simply try to create a better umbrella. And we say, how do we push through? And how do we then not only create an umbrella, but create a boat so that we can ride these tides and we can take people to where they want to go? And that is precisely what 2024 felt like for me. And to talk about real estate, this article that Justin found for us was really fascinating. It said 31% fewer U.S. homes sold in 2024 than in pre-pandemic 2019. So you look at this boom that we had, like kind of during the pandemic. This is talking about pre-pandemic, and we still saw significantly fewer homes sell than had pre-pandemic. In addition, we also know that slightly higher mortgage interest rates scared people away left and right. And now we saw, like in December of 2024, we saw a little bit of an uptick in purchasing. Interest rates came down a little bit. They come up again a little bit, and people are still just sort of uncertain. Like you said, rents have not been what we thought they would be. home prices continue to appreciate, and there continues to be an incredible demand with an extremely limited supply of homes, yet we don't have that many people buying. And there are significantly less people buying in 2024 than were even buying before the pandemic, when the economy seemed to be on relatively sure footing, when we had pretty still incredible interest rates. And so as a result of all of that, Steve, we decided, okay, we've got to figure out what to do and how to serve Americans to figure out how to help more people not only understand the opportunity that is at their doorstep, but then have every opportunity and possibility to do just that. And you made an incredible recommendation, and we started a little sort of internal company mastermind.
Yeah. Yeah. So we kind of switched up how we were meeting and how we were discussing things, and decided instead of having just like a regular leadership meeting, we wanted to do more of that masterminding, where we could collectively bring, the leadership of our company together on a regular basis and really think through things. And in order to kind of, promote the thought process, we decided to start reading books together again. And the first book that we chose to read was Good to Great by Jim Collins. And we've read that as a company before years ago.
I can't remember
what
I don't know what year.
Long
it was
time
wild.
ago.
Yeah.
So we started that whole process of reading Good to Great together, and it really kind of clarified some things for us as a group, and for you and I individually, and it really led to some pretty cool things. But one thing that I want to share before we just like totally dive into that is that one of the other frustrating things for me was, over this last year, you and I invested in more properties last year than we've ever invested in any single year ever.
Right.
And we did so based on the principle of one of the greatest investors of all time, Warren Buffett, who said, you need to buy when people are scared and when people are running away, and sell when people are greedy.
Greedy, yeah.
And so we were really we really doubled down on that concept and that principle. And so like the frustrating thing is we've worked hard to try and get that message out that right now is one of the greatest opportunities, like in the history of this country, to be buying real estate based on the circumstances that we have. Because we all know exactly what's going to happen the moment interest rates will go down, and there's a likely scenario that interest rates could go down in the coming months and years.
Yeah.
And what's really interesting is that whenever we've seen in the last 6 months or the last 2 quarters, whenever we've seen the Fed drop the rate, and mortgage rates actually didn't fall because they're not directly tied to the Fed.
Right.
It's other economic factors that control mortgage interest rates. But people went out and they were like, homes going under contract would spike. I remember the day that the first time the Fed dropped the rate in Q3. On that day, there was a 14% spike in homes going under contract, and interest rates didn't even go down. And as the Fed has done that, like that's happened every time, but actually what's happened is interest rates actually went up. So when interest rates actually go down, Kev, we're going to see like a massive number of people diving into the market. And the bottom line is you can always like refinance a home and get a lower interest rate, but you are never going to be able to lower that price. Like you have no control over the price.
Yeah.
And so like knowing that and understanding that, like you and I really put our money where our mouth is, and we got after it. And so from that standpoint, it was a pretty cool year. But everything else that was going on, like really led us to take a closer look at how do we serve like people, like good, hardworking Americans better. And I think that we came up with some amazing things, and this whole concept, Good to Great. I'll let you kind of dive in and maybe you can share the experience that we had where we thought there's a concept in Good to Great called the hedgehog concept.
Yeah.
And as we started talking about that, we thought we had it figured out. We dialed it in. We got the definition all put together. And then one individual, Natalie, she's like kind of put up her hand. She's like, well, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Like, is it really that? Or what about this? And it blew our minds, right?
Yeah.
All of a sudden, like, boom, in that moment, like my head exploded. I was like, holy cow.
Right.
She's 100% right.
Yep.
And we kind of like, we stopped and we reevaluated and had an amazing discussion that kind of led to some very cool things.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're talking about if interest rates go down, what's going to happen? At the end of 2024, I think the median home price in the US was like $404,000. Like prices did not soften, okay? Prices kept going up. Real estate kept appreciating.
There are some markets where prices went down, but in the markets where we buy, prices were still like ticking upwards.
Well, and what's so fascinating about that is like everybody's waiting for interest rates to go down. Right. And I don't know how much louder we can broadcast this. I don't think we can. When they do, home prices will start to go up. You can always, like you said, refinance for a lower rate, but you are not going to get that money back in a price correction. Okay, so in terms of immediacy, there's such an immediacy to be buying right now. But so as we got together as kind of this company mastermind and we read Good to Great and we started to talk about the hedgehog concept. For those of you that have not read the book, it's a fascinating book. Jim Collins and team, what they did is they analyzed a number of companies and they specifically took a look at companies that had far outperformed competitors just based on, I believe it was stock price. And they tried to look at those companies and say, what did those, there's a handful of companies in competitive marketplaces, and those handful of companies did significantly better than all their competitors. Do they have commonality? Was there a handful of ideas, principles, things that governed the companies that became great versus those companies that just stayed good? And so the book is about what was the separators, what was the difference between those great companies and those good companies. And one of the things that they identify in the book is this idea of a hedgehog concept. And a hedgehog concept is kind of, if you think of a Venn diagram, right, 3 circles that all kind of meet in the middle. The hedgehog concept says your business should fully understand and work on and react to your hedgehog concept. But a lot of businesses don't know what it is. Where you find it is at the intersection of what you are best in the world at, what your economic engine is, and what you are passionate about. If you can find what you're passionate about and where that intersects with what you're best in the world at, and where that intersects with, so passion, economic engine, and what you're really good at, that's your hedgehog concept. And it was that conversation where it was really like we were pretty dang clear, I thought, on what we were best in the world at, right? We believe there's not another.
And what our economic engine was.
Yes. Well, the economic engine was the one
that's what exploded my brain.
Well, 100%. So we're like, we know we're passionate about helping everyday earners like create economic independence.
Absolutely.
We knew that. And we thought like, oh, we're best in the world at helping everyday earners, just normal people, transact real estate and make real estate investing and transacting as easy as possible. And we figured that our economic engine was, just our transactions, like how many homes we close. And as we got to talking, we started to really question, largely because Natalie was like, well, wait a second, is that really our economic engine? And as we started to think about it and talk about it, we're like, our economic engine isn't just transactions. Our economic engine is humans. The more people we can serve, we only succeed as a company if we can help as many people as possible. And we went, well, our economic engine is really derived from people that don't know they can do real estate and then giving them a pathway forward. And as we started to talk about that, we're like, well, wait a second. So transactions is a byproduct of that, but it's not like the only thing that we're focused on. But where it really opened up for me is when we started to really have the discussion. That was the first opening, right? Then the second opening was, what are we best in the world at? And we realized something. And for me, this was a massive epiphany. And I hope everybody listening hears this. I will tell you what we are best in the world at. We are best in the world at creating real estate millionaires from everyday people. There is not another company on the planet that has been able to create so many millionaires with such a simple concept. You look at big companies that have big exits, they create a handful of millionaires. Steve, we went and we tracked it. We have created well over 400 real estate millionaires.
With hundreds more on the way.
With hundreds more on the way. Who else does that? We took a look. I think, at least in the state of Utah, what we've been able to do for our clients, how we've been able to serve our clients, is we've been able to help more people become millionaires than almost any other company, if any other company, at least in the state of Utah, which is incredible. And we realized, wait a second, if we are best in the world at helping everyday earner, normal people become real estate millionaires, and our economic engine is serving as many people as we can, we know what we're passionate about. We're passionate about working with folks and helping them transform their financial lives. And all of a sudden, this hedgehog concept, this fully fleshed out, us understanding we went, oh my goodness. Now, I just have to say this, Steve, because when you and I, by the way, the book is totally out. You could go get it. You can go to dfy-realestate.com. You'll see a call to action to be able to go and get the book, Micro Wins to Millions. And we've been shipping books out now. It's been awesome. When we went to name that book, you and I actually, we'd thrown out the name Micro Wins to Millions, and we really liked it. We liked the alliteration. But you and I remember being in your office. We had a conversation where we were like, but I mean, do we want to say millions? Because we were even a little bit gun shy about it, and that was just a handful of years ago. Why? Because we didn't fully understand that that's precisely what we are doing. Because we were still operating under an assumption that we didn't want to be a company that's like, hey, everybody, come look at how cool I am, and you could be a multimillionaire too, just like me. We didn't want to be that, because that's not who we are. We get in the trenches and we get dirty and we help people transform their lives. But when we actually looked at the numbers, we went, holy crap, we are quite literally creating real estate millionaires. We are best in the world at creating real estate millionaires, and take that one step further, out of everyday earner, normal, everyday, hardworking people, successful, busy people, and helping them become real estate millionaires. And that was kind of a mind-blowing experience.
Well, and for me, Kev, the biggest part of that was out of hardworking Americans. And I had kind of like pigeonholed like hardworking Americans to being those who are already kind of successful, because we don't do creative real estate. Like our real estate is very like black and white, in a box. You got to have credit scores, you got to have income, you got to have the down payments and all that kind of stuff, right? Because it's just very straightforward that way. But what hit me, what kind of slapped me upside the head, is that most hardworking Americans are not there yet.
Correct.
And so in order for us to work with these hardworking Americans, they had to cross a certain threshold, and they had to come and meet us where we are.
Where we are, yeah.
As far as like in terms of who we are able to help. And I realized it's like, wait a minute, we have to have something for the 90+% of other hardworking Americans who aren't quite there yet. We need to meet them where they are at. And that took a concept that we've been working on actually for a couple of years.
Yeah.
The on deck circle, which was going to be that kind of a thing. But when we really realized, it's like, wait a minute, like we need to go to them and we need to meet them where they are at. Like it's something like switched in my brain.
Yeah.
And as I know it did in yours.
It did.
And so we took that concept that we've been working on for quite some time, turned it on its head, reframed it, rebuilt it, renamed it.
Yep.
And we've literally, am I allowed to say that we rolled it? Yeah. Okay. So we kind of soft launched it, right? Like a week ago. And it is so exciting because we are now doing exactly that. Yeah. And that was one of the I think the greatest, most exciting moments in the almost 2 decades that we've been doing this, for me personally, because it just changed that mindset in my brain, where it's like we really do finally have something that is going to make a significant difference in people's lives who probably, Kev, a lot of the people who come to us, they may have contemplated in their minds, I could probably do something. I know I can't get to being a real estate millionaire where I'm at. I can't even retire based on what I've got, but they got to a certain point where maybe they had hope for it, where maybe they saw a path where they could get there. I want to work with those who can't even see a path.
That's right.
They don't even know that it exists. And how exciting is that thought that we could go and begin the process of working with individuals, because we know that there is a path for like pretty much every human being who lives in this country, the greatest country ever, that has the ability to have a path like this.
Yeah.
And we know what it takes. We know exactly what it takes. Like, we can show people exactly what to do. And with a little bit of faith and patience and diligence, they can get there.
And we needed to figure out a way to create an opportunity to not just help people learn to do real estate, but actually do it, to where they could start to invest in themselves right away and get tremendous benefit for doing it. We realized we needed to be more than just real estate education and more than just real estate transactions. We needed to have somewhere in the middle where everybody could go. We needed a community. And that is what we have launched. As we have thought about this and talked about this, and for years I was referring to it as the on-deck circle because it's Moneyball real estate, right? We're hitting real estate singles. So the on-deck circle, you're prepping to get up to the plate and hit your first real estate single. But I went, wait a second. We need to have a place where everybody can have an identity. And the identity is that they are either currently real estate millionaires or they are on the path to becoming a real estate millionaire. And I wanted us to have a place where our existing millionaire clients, our existing clients that are on their way to being millionaires, and then people that didn't even know they could get started, where everybody could come together and live and coexist and benefit one another and help one another and do it in a way that they could connect with each other no matter where they are in the country. And we named it, and we created it. And we launched something that we now call the Moneyball Millionaire League. We call it MBML for short, Moneyball Millionaire League, MBML. So if you're listening to the podcast and you hear us ever talk about the MBML, that's what it is, the Moneyball Millionaire League. By the way, you can go to dfy-realestate.com/MBML and check it out. And we said, let's have an online community. Let's have live events again. Let's have interaction, personal, one-to-one, one-to-many, people coming together, people having an online platform like Facebook. We basically created a version of Millionaire Facebook that is just for real estate investors working with Done For You Real Estate, where everybody can go and connect, where there's a community online where they could go and interact, and we're posting regularly. We launched these office hours where we just open up our Zoom room and you could come and ask questions whenever you want. We relaunched intensives. We're now doing intensives again once a quarter. We're launching something called the 5-day pre-qual challenge, where it's so difficult for people to get pre-qualified. And so now you can do it for just about an hour a day. I will spend time with you and we will teach the entire system front to back, top to bottom, and handhold you right through everything you need to figure out if you are qualified to do and invest in real estate. We have multiple books. We have multiple audiobooks. There is multiple courses. There is everything. We are putting everything that we've ever done in this community so that it is all in one place where people can gather and they can start wherever they are. And this is one of the coolest things. No matter where you are in life, you can jump into this thing and check it out. It's totally free. Well, you go to dfy-realestate.com/MBML, and you could join for 30 days for free and just check it out. We give you all kinds of freebies. We know that not everybody's going to want to come and be there, but the other thing we did that is so cool is there's a cost to being in this community. For our existing clients that have been with us for a long time, you're grandfathered into this system. But for those that are just kind of discovering us for the first time, every single dollar you invest in yourself on a monthly basis gets credited against or taken from your first real estate transaction. So now all of a sudden you have a place to go, you have a place to connect. There's all of this education. There's all of these resources. There's these live events that are included. There's all of this interaction and exposure, and every dollar you're putting towards it is coming back to you, so that every dime you spend comes back to you in the end, so that every single person can start wherever they are and begin a process to become a real estate millionaire. And it is absolutely breathtaking. And that is why we have not done podcasts for a quarter, we went and created something absolutely remarkable, something that does not exist in the world like this, that allows more people to come together and do this thing in this environment, in this economy, so that they can totally transform their financial lives. And I don't know if you can tell, but I'm pretty psyched about it.
Well, and Kev, one of the things that to me is super exciting as well that you didn't touch on is that we have expanded our offerings. So within the Moneyball Millionaire League, there we will be teaching some creative strategies. Like, we're not going to go out and help you do them, but we're going to have experts. We're going to have individuals teaching courses. We're going to have resources and opportunities to learn how to house hack, how to do subject twos, how to do seller finance, how to do all of these different things that can help one get into the type of real estate that we do, which is a little bit more conventional. And then on top of that, from a DFY standpoint, from the standpoint of what we will offer, we will always have our preferred box of real estate that we help our clients do. But Kip, it was super fun the other day to contemplate that we are expanding the parameters of that box to where, if you're an individual, like right now, our TOP, or the total out of pocket to get into a property, that the types of properties that we buy is about $85,000 all in, right?
Yeah,
your
right.
your 25% down payment, your closing costs, your rehab, and the team's fee. Well, not everybody has $85,000, but some people have $40,000 or $50,000, and they're just ready to go. And so we've expanded the box. We've begun the process of developing relationships with individual groups and knowing what we know. Like, we used to do these lower priced homes, and we slowly over the years increased the price point because we just wanted a higher quality product that had even fewer issues, fewer problems, less time, less risk, all that stuff. And so we know all of the pitfalls with the different parameters where you can go on the lower price points, higher price points, and whatnot. And we really can help people avoid a lot of the mistakes and have the right expectations, right, for these properties. But we expanded that box.
Yeah.
And so now if you want to get started at a lower TOP, you're going to be able to do that. I had a conversation just today with a brand new supplier of properties that are a higher level of quality. I won't say what the market is yet, but we will announce that soon.
Belize. It's Belize, everybody.
Belize, yeah. It's in the United States, I'll tell you that much. And it actually exists in one of the markets where we currently are. But it's at a lower price point, but a higher quality home with a better rehab, all of those things. And then the other thing on the upper end of the scales, we have our midterm, our MTRs, our midterm rentals, which is an incredible product, which takes even a little bit more to get in, but the cash flow is incredible, and all of the rest of the benefits. So we've expanded, Kev, like from top to bottom in terms of what we're able to offer our clients through the MBML in our effort to accommodate going to people and letting them get started where they are at.
That's right.
As opposed to forcing them into our box.
Yeah. So think of it like this. You now have the ability to walk in the stadium. You can get in the on-deck circle. You can get to the plate. And if you don't want to swing for a single, you might be able to lay down a bunt. You could also get on base with a single. That's the stuff we've been doing for years and years and years. And what if you want to take a little more risk, put a little more money in, and get a little bit more of a reward? We have doubles. And that is and it's all inside of the same framework that we teach in Micro Wins to Millions, that is the Moneyball real estate system. And oh, wait, there's more. Not only have we expanded the offering, not only have we now made it possible for people of all different economic levels to be able to come and engage, whether they're on the higher end of the spectrum or the lower end of the spectrum and they're just getting started. We even built software. We've had a team, Mike Chamberlain and his incredible son. We have now coded like over 6,000 lines of code to create a game plan projection calculator so that you can now go and run scenarios. What if I bought a home at this price point? And what if I had this for a TOP, and what would that home look like? How could I eventually generate some tax-free income? And that's another thing. We have also finally started to teach a strategy that we've been aware of for a long time. But not only have we expanded the offering, but what if I told you, we're going to talk more about this on the next podcast. What if I told you that we now show you, hold your hand, teach you, and provide a way for you to generate tax-free real estate income for the rest of your life? I know that sounds insane. You're going to have to come to the next podcast to hear about that. So we've expanded the offering. We have all kinds of stuff. We have all of these resources. We have live events. We have interaction. We have game planning software. We've got the ability to meet you where you are. And there's even more than that. We also totally revamped the entire shopping process. When our clients are shopping for real estate, it is more efficient, it is quicker, and it is frankly significantly better than it's ever been. So we reinvented literally the way that our clients are shopping for properties while expanding the box, while providing all of these events and this education and this community for everybody to connect, while building software, while showing you how to generate tax-free income. It has felt the last quarter, Steve, and we're just getting started. Like, this is just the beginning. I'm telling you, the last quarter, the only word that I can think of is it's felt like a renaissance. It's just felt like this. I'm a big believer that we need to have a real estate revolution in this country. And we need to become real estate revolutionaries, meaning we need to no longer accept the financial wisdom of years past that has kept the vast majority of Americans trapped in a system that does not allow them to be economically independent. We've been talking about that for a long time, but I think we're getting more serious than ever that if you want to have your own personal real estate revolution, there is a pathway, clear and direct, for you to become a real estate millionaire. And we do it better than anybody on the planet. And now we have an entire place where you can come, and wherever you are, if you're just getting started and you need to generate some capital, if you need to buy a lower priced property, if you need to buy a primary residence, if you want to come and hit a real estate single, if you want to go get a double, if you need software to help you figure it out, if you're later in your game plan and you want to see how to transition your portfolio to tax-free income, I don't care what it is now here. It's been created. It is published. It is online. We are doing it. We have the book that is out, Micro Wins to Millions. You can go get the book today. There is so much that has happened over the last quarter that we have been sprinting, and we are so excited. And Steve, I said it before, I'll say it again. Buddy, you and I both know this podcast, this communication, what we're doing, this whole thing I just described, it is just scratching the surface. We are just beginning, my friends, and that is why you need to continue to tune into the Replace Your Income podcast. We are going to be coming at you fast and furious. We are going to be sharing more than ever before. We want you to come and join us in the Moneyball Millionaire League. Go to dfy-realestate.com/MBML. Check it out. It's totally free. You can just check it out. We'll give you a bunch of cool stuff. We'll give you a copy of Think and Grow Rich in the audiobook, and The Science of Getting Rich in the audiobook, and Micro Wins to Millions in the audiobook. And we'll give you some awesome courses and classes and give you access to everything so you can test drive it and see if it's a good fit for you. It's absolutely no obligation. You can come to our next live intensive. You can come to our live events that we're doing. We just want you to come and be here, because we are on a mission to continue to create real estate millionaires. And if I'm talking to you and you're not sure where you are on that spectrum, I promise you, if you think you're far away, you're closer than you think, and we can show you. If you're already a real estate millionaire, it is time for you to transition to a tax-free income real estate portfolio, and we can show you how to take whatever it is you're doing to the next level and blow your mind. Steve, any last words before we wrap this show?
Oh my goodness. I got nothing to say after that. That was fantastic. I'm ready to go. Where do I sign up?
Well, you go to dfy-realestate.com/MBML. All right, you guys, thank you so much for joining us. We are so excited for the next year, for 2025 and beyond, and what it's going to look like. 2024 was a crazy year, but it led to remarkable innovation that you watching and listening will benefit from, not just today, but for years and years to come. This can transform your financial future in ways even we didn't understand till very recently. We are so excited to do it with you. So thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week.
Have a good one.